We search for the ghosts of lost civilizations in the shifting sands of Egypt, the tangled jungles of the Amazon, and the silent depths of our oceans. We look for a city, a tomb, a single definitive artifact to prove that we were not the first. But what if we are searching in all the wrong places? What if the civilization that came before us was so impossibly ancient that the Earth itself has systematically erased almost every trace of its existence? Our planet is not a static museum of history. It is a living, breathing, violent machine that is constantly rewriting its own surface. The ground beneath our feet is not permanent. 99% of the Earth's surface is geologically new, subject to a relentless cycle of destruction and rebirth. Tectonic plates grind together, thrusting up mountain ranges and burying coastlines. Oceans rise and fall, flooding entire continents. Glaciers, miles thick, act like celestial bulldozers, scouring the landscape down to the bedrock, pulverizing everything in their path. And vast volcanic eruptions pave over millions of square miles with molten rock, resetting the geological clock to zero. Any global civilization that existed more than 12,000 years ago, let alone 50,000 or 100,000, would not just be ancient. It would have been subjected to a planetary-scale extermination by the planet itself. The chances of finding a city are not just small, they are statistically zero. And even if any artifacts survived, they are buried beyond our reach. Consider this: the entirety of recorded human history, from the first Sumerian clay tablets to the foundations of our modern cities, exists within a fragile, paper-thin layer of the Earth's crust, rarely more than 10 feet deep. This is the archaeological zone. This is where we look. But a civilization that existed before the end of the last ice age would not be in this layer. Its remains would be crushed, deformed, and buried under 12 millennia of sediment, silt, and geological chaos. We dig 10 feet down to find a Roman villa. The ruins of a pre-Ice Age culture could be 300 feet down, 1,000 feet down, an impossible depth to excavate without a clear reason. This is perhaps the simplest, most terrifying explanation for why we find nothing. We are simply not digging deep enough. We are also looking for the wrong things. Our civilization is defined by its industrial waste: concrete, stainless steel, plastic, and glass. These are the materials that will signal our existence to future geologists. But what if a precursor civilization was fundamentally different? What if they were not industrial, but ecological? What if they built their cities not from concrete, but from engineered stone, from advanced organic polymers, from materials designed to be incredibly strong and then to biodegrade and return to the earth when their purpose was served? Consider the Maya, a culture of millions that built vast stone cities. Just a few centuries after they vanished, the jungle had reclaimed almost everything. And that was just 1,000 years ago. What would be left after 50,000 years of planetary grinding? The answer is simple: nothing. Nothing but ghosts. But there is one place where their legacy might be preserved, a place we have barely begun to explore: the bottom of the ocean. During the last ice age, so much of the world's water was locked up in glaciers that the global sea level was 400 feet lower than it is today. The coastlines of our planet were completely different. And it is on the coasts that all great civilizations thrive. It is where you find abundant food, trade, transport, and temperate climates. When the glaciers melted with catastrophic speed, those 400 feet of water returned to the oceans, and in doing so, they swallowed the most valuable real estate on the planet. The primordial homelands of any advanced coastal civilization were not just flooded, they were annihilated, submerged under a global deluge. Today, there are over 1 million square miles of this lost blue continent waiting to be explored, a drowned world that may hold the very keys to our deepest past. But for now, it remains almost completely inaccessible. And yet, we have found things, impossible things. We have found megalithic structures built with a precision we struggle to replicate even today. We have found Göbekli Tepe, a 12,000-year-old celestial computer whose builders are a complete mystery. We have found ancient maps that seem to show the world as it was before the flood. We find geometric, city-like structures on the seafloor off India and Japan. We find a scattered, global breadcrumb trail of impossible artifacts, perfect spheres, strange columns, and inexplicable tunnels. We see these clues in isolation. We label them as individual mysteries, but we refuse to connect the dots because to do so would be to admit that the official story of our past is wrong. To do so would be to accept the existence of a civilization zero, because the evidence is overwhelming that 12,000 years ago, our planet was violently rebooted. In a geological heartbeat, the glaciers melted, the oceans rose, and global supervolcanoes erupted, choking the sky with ash. Cometary fragments rained from the heavens, and every large land animal on the planet was driven to extinction. The climate didn't change over centuries, it snapped in less than a decade. If a global civilization existed at that time, it did not stand a chance, and the few traumatized survivors who crawled from the wreckage would have been thrown back into a primitive dark age. Their knowledge, their culture, their memory of who they once were, all but erased. And so, history began again. So why can we not find this lost civilization? Because the Earth is an old planet and it keeps no prisoners. Because its surface is constantly being erased and renewed. Because the oceans are hiding 90% of the evidence. Because their remains are buried too deep, because they may have built with materials that have long since turned to dust, because a global cataclysm wiped the slate clean, and because we are trapped by the dogma of a historical narrative that refuses to even consider the possibility. But even with all of these impossible barriers, the traces are there, faint, scattered, and mysterious. We simply haven't learned how to read them. We are a species with amnesia, searching for the keys to our own identity without realizing we are standing on the ruins of the house we forgot we ever built.